trying to turn my damn mirror.
We're back, fuckers. Tammy and Gary here.
What's up?
While we're on our cruise home, we're going to chit-chat a little bit about one of the subjects on pools that we want to talk about. In the description below, it says, let's talk about mulch and bushes, shall we? We don't have much to say.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we have some customers that like to have mulch around their pool area.
And filter systems.
And trees and or bushes. All great concepts. You know, I understand you want to make your pool area or filter system decorative, but there are some places where mulch and bushes and trees do not belong, and guess where they're at?
Around a pool and filter system.
There we go. Okay, it's a lot of issues that can happen. One, and there are some that we have seen or we know.
They have FAFO'd. Sorry, it's true.
They definitely FAFO'd. Because they are on pump number 2.
Yeah, 2 of them. Well, no, 1.
Your filter systems need room to breathe.
Your motors need to get air. They need to breathe. That's what cools them, helps them cool.
They are not designed to run in little cubby spaces with all kinds of bushes and trees and mulch stuffed under them.
Yeah, which
around
these asshole
them.
companies do. I've seen it. I've had to dig them out.
Because what will happen is your pump will kick out on thermal overload and it will burn up and you will have to purchase another pump.
And it won't happen right away, but it'll kick out under thermal overload. And every time it kicks out under thermal overload, the amount of load that it takes to kick it out under thermal overload gets less and less and less. And it's heat that causes it.
And just to give you an idea, we just had to purchase a pump for ourselves because one took a crap on us, and $800 later. And that's not even one of the most expensive pumps. This is just a regular pump. So it's a not so cheap FAFO. Bushes. You know, bushes might look nice when they're small. How cute, look at
Remember, they don't grow only
look
up.
at the cute little plant or the
They
cute
grow
little
out.
bush or the cute little pot of flowers. Oh, looks around the pool. Guess what? They're going to expand. The roots are going to expand.
Yep, we have a customer with that problem. Look at the bottom of his pool, and there's dirt in it. It looks like a road map.
Look at the cute little pine tree we purchased. That little tree is going to become a big-ass tree that the roots are not going to go like this. The roots are going to go all over the place. Who do we have?
Tammy.
Tammy, what's up?
And what happens is, what people don't realize, when you get a pool or your filter system, you plant these things when they're really, really tiny. You plant them too close. You plant them way too close, and that's what happens. It grows out and up. Some of them don't. A bush doesn't grow up high; it grows out, and it gets in. It gets on the filter. It stops the filter from getting air. It's not that you can't have them. You got to stop planting them so close.
Think
it out.
One of the customers that we have, the bottom of his pool literally looks like a road map.
Nope, not a joke.
Of roots.
Literally not a joke.
You can see every little tree root.
Thank you, Tammy.
What's up? It's the pool buckles. You can see every little root down to like vein sized.
Yeah.
It looks like not what do they call it? Not seaweed, like those sea fans.
I just call it a road map.
The cool little leafy sea flowers that look all veiny. That's literally what the bottom of his pool looks like, other than big tree roots that are probably a good half an inch thick that are all over his.
And that's an above ground pool. I have been to in ground pools.
We have one.
I have been to in ground pools to fix lines underneath that tree roots collapsed the lines. I was at one that nobody could figure out what the problem was, and that one of the skimmers stopped sucking. Well, the way the customer made it sound was it just stopped automatically, suddenly. Through asking questions when I was there, I said, how long? He said, well, over years and years it's been getting less and less. I'm like, and I looked at the backyard. He had a weeping willow tree, like 30 feet from the pool. Not even. It was actually like 15 feet, 15 feet, roughly, from the pool. I went, there's your problem. I said, I'll bet any amount of money the roots grew over and plugged this line off. He dug down, and guess what he found? It's exactly what he found. The tree root had come over, and they used soft PVC, which a lot of the companies are using now because it's cheaper. I hate that. I want to see solid pipe under the ground.
And you know what? Cheaper is not, when it comes to piping.
Yeah, you don't want to use cheap.
Yeah, you don't want to go cheap.
But a lot of them are using the flex pipe. And flex pipe is also big on attracting termites, as I have found out many, many years ago. But they used a flex pipe, and what happened is the tree root grew into it, and it pushed it up and pushed it against itself on the top against the dirt. So it completely closed off his skimmer. He had zero suction coming out of that skimmer. So we had to dig up the line. He had to cut the tree root. Yo, lady, stand.
Well, she was on her side.
No, she wasn't. She came over to me. As I was passing, she came over here. They had to cut the tree root out, and I had to replace the piece of pipe. We have another one right now currently that when we first got him, he had a leak in his pipe, or he had a valve that was leaking, and I couldn't do anything with it because there was a tree root there. He cut the tree root out. We still have him as a customer, Kevin. So, you guys, you got to think before you're doing this shit. You can't just put up trees and bushes around your pools and your filter systems because it can affect it. Not only that, but you get shit in your pool. Do you realize that the number one cause for phosphates is mulch and leaves? Number one cause for phosphate is mulch and leaves, and you're putting that around your pool.
As far as the mulch, we have
Two mulch.
We have a situation right now where nice fresh mulch was put on down. I think half of that mulch wound up in the pool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody has seen the different kinds of mulches that are out there. You have, big chunks, small chunks, you have little frame parts. But as little as some of those pieces are, you get too many pieces when you're trying to vacuum, get sucked up, guess what's going to happen? It's going to clog a line somewhere along the lines if too much of that shit gets in.
Hi, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in.
What's up, Kyle?
Thank you, guys, for tuning in.
And when you're backing up dirt, leaves, and mulch, a lot of the times you can't determine what's actually dirt and what's little pieces of frayed mulch. Or if it's under leaves, you're trying to to suck up the leaves in the dirt that has mulch underneath that you can't see. And next week, we actually have to take our compressor with one of the jobs because we think mulch got stuck in their line now. So as much as...
And you got to remember, guys, that those pieces of mulch, some of those pieces of mulch are bigger and they're kind of like hard. They're almost like rocks.
Yeah.
That turns sideways in your plumbing, especially if you only have 1.5 inch plumbing. If a piece like that turns sideways, anything that hits that's going to get blocked inside the pipe. Especially if you hit a fitting or something, it's going to get blocked inside the pipe. There's your blockage. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to blow that out with an air compressor. If it's too wide, I've already run into where it was too wide. I had to punch it with a screwdriver, and I was able to get to it. I had to cut it in half with a screwdriver to get it out. That stuff can clog up like that.
Yeah. So as much as you want to have a decorative area, don't do it. Back away. Put it over somewhere else, away from your pool, away from the filter system.
And you got to realize that, just because you're not throwing it in the pool, there's wind, there's rain.
Yeah.
It's going to end up in the pool.
Yeah, especially.
Period.
Especially, yeah. I mean, not so much above ground for like mulch, but if you have an in ground.
Yeah, but wind can throw it in there.
Yeah. We've actually saw, was like 2-3 years ago, up in Pottsville.
Oh God, that. The landslide.
Yeah.
The mud pool.
A copper located up the hill.
I'm doing speed limits out here.
We have 11 miles and we're just gonna stay straight. Like 2-3 years ago, up in Pottsville, it was torrential downpours, and we got a call from a guy, his neighbor. His neighbor had nice mulch and stones above him.
Well, it wasn't mulch, it was dirt. That was all mud.
And dirt, yep. He had all the above, and all the torrential downpours
created a mudslide.
Came down into his pool.
Directly into his pool. And I'll tell you what, that pool was a brown mud swamp.
Yeah.
And we had to clean it up.
We cleaned it up. We did a back to waste through our pump.
It took a couple hours.
Yeah, it was gross. So be mindful.
And that wasn't even his yard. That was his neighbor's mud, not his. He's like, I don't have anything wrong, which he didn't. I mean, he had woods behind him, but that was all, ran right down through his yard, directly into his, but didn't even miss his pool. Ran directly into, it had a stream going right down into his pool.
Yeah.
I felt bad for that guy.
For those that have the pine trees with the little pine needles, those will clog up your pump, get behind your impeller, clog up your lines. It's just a big clogging mess. So
to have a pool, guys, is a thought process.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a landscape.
It is.
It's not something I'm going to throw a pool up and then let's throw some trees here. No. You got to think about it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you have a liner pool, no matter what pool you have, that pool can get fucked up by whatever you put in the yard with the pool. So when you do a pool, you got to think about what you're doing, what you're putting in your backyard. Like, just think about it. Don't just throw a pool back there and then say, okay, I want trees here, I want this, I want that. It's not intelligent to do it that way. You got to think about what you're putting in your backyard with that pool. All right? And it's sort of like these people that put a pool in a backyard, and I don't know why companies do it. I guess they don't give a shit. Companies that will put a pool in a backyard that's got a high water table. Especially, well, it doesn't matter what kind of pool it is. Concrete pools are a little bit better because they're heavier, but concrete pools, I worked on one that popped out of the ground because of a high water table. The guy took all the water, emptied all the water out of it to paint it, and didn't release the relief plug that's down inside, because that was back when the relief plugs were just screw-in plugs and they weren't check valves. Now they have check valves. But he didn't take the old relief plug out, and the pool popped out of the ground 3 feet on the deep end. We had to jackhammer it all down. So you got to think before you put a pool in your backyard. It's not let's just put a pool in the backyard and then throw up trees and bushes and mulch, yee, let's go, let's do this. You got to think before you do it, because you're putting yourself in a situation where you're giving yourself a bigger headache. You're making yourself have a huge headache, and if you're not the one taking care of it, you're going to pay the price. Because like if we were to take care of it and we go there and we're an hour and a half, 2 hours each time, guess what? You're paying the extra time we're there, but you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah, and why would you want to spend most of your afternoon cleaning all that out,
or pay a company to clean extra? And I'm going to tell you something. We know certain companies that are a certain amount per 15 minutes extra.
Yeah.
We don't do that. But there's companies that are doing, per 15 minutes extra, they're charging you the full price. 15 minutes extra. I used to work for one of the companies that does it. That's how I know. There's other companies that charge extra per half hour. It's insane.
Yeah, don't go try hiding your filter systems.
You want to hide your filter system, put a fence.
Don't even put them under a deck.
No, never.
That's the last place you want to put a filter system.
And if you're going to put it, in any kind of shed, first of all, make sure that the shed is tall enough. Secondly, make sure it is well vented. Do not let those pumps get too hot. You will burn the pumps up. Seen it happen a million times.
So, just think about what you're putting where. Okay?
If you're not sure and you have questions, ask us.
Yep. That's all. We're going to keep this not so long. We're going to keep it short, sweet, and simple. That'll be it for this pool school video. Like Ari said, any questions, feel free to reach out, 610-780-3614 or cbpoolpros@gmail.com. All right, everybody have a good rest of the day, and we'll catch you on the floor.
Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, where this will also be loaded up, and there's a ton of other videos similar to this, and all kinds of videos on there. This will be uploaded there probably tonight. It is CV Pool Pros 16. That's Crystal Vision, CV Pool Pros 16. That's our YouTube channel. Check it out. Be safe.